it is rocking to its very foundations. Tony Rowe, no doubt a proud man watching on, having steered the club all the way through up the ranks, with Rob Baxter just the all-important man at the front of it all. 20 years ago, languishing in Courage League Division 4, now European Cup quarter-finalists, Premiership semi-finalists, and with every chance of winning the thing. Greg Garner is our referee today, celebrating his 100th game with a semi-final. And with conditions really pretty awful, it is now time to get it on. Time to find our other finalist, our challenger to Saracens. These two have brought out the best in each other in 3 thrilling meetings this season. The Chiefs with back-to-back Premiership wins, Wasps snatching that dramatic Champions Cup quarter-final. But they've never won here. In 7 attempts, is today the day? Chiefs having won the toss, playing with the wind behind them. Stevenson sending it inside the Wasp 22. Robson, safety first, that's heading straight for me.
That gives you an idea of the strength of this win. Interesting choice, wasn't it? We were wondering if they won the toss, which way Exeter would decide to play. Of course, last time I think they played into the win. This time they've elected to take the win.
Parling, lovely clean line-out ball for Exeter, and immediately Woodburn's into the action up the middle. Slick operation at line-out time. Execution is going to be absolutely critical in slippery conditions out there.
George Smith just doing enough to slow the ball down, then lost his feet and let go of it.
Debut as the target this time. Cowan Dickey out the back to Slade. This is Witten. One of those underestimated players who's proved so key in making sure that midfield operates as it should, keeping out Sam Hill. Chiefs pressing. Needing points to go with the pressure, with the wind in behind them in this opening 40 minutes. This is Dolman. Proved a slippery customer just a few weeks ago when Wasps were a little off their game, having just been beaten in Europe in the quarter-final. Steenson releasing Woodburn. 1 or 2 holes beginning to open up. Ewers, good line speed from Wasps, and particularly George Smith. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Chudley sets off again. It's a little loose, well gathered by Witten. Harry Williams on the outside. Pops it away. Witten again, straightening on Wade and driving towards the 22. Full of bristling aggression here, Chiefs, in the opening skirmishes.
Yeah, just probably took Wasps a little bit by surprise that Exeter prepared to tip it on 1 or 2 more passes.
Lovely tip on from Slade. Noel having to gather, but he's got Frank Haller, I should say, right on top of him, gathering man and ball.
Reorganised well there, knocked Exeter back about 20 yards. Tackle.
Chudley again. Chiefs still keeping the ball in hand. This is Don Armand, who's had a fabulous season, keeping Waldrum out of the lineup. As it goes from Salvi, good handling, and it's lost by Lees, but then it's been played on the ground, and that's the opening penalty of the match.
There goes against Nathan Hughes. Greg Garner just telling him to keep his mouth shut. He was on the floor, he's not allowed to play the ball. He would probably argue that the ball was out. We saw that earlier on in the game between Saracens and Leicester, but first opportunity goes to Gareth Steenson. Look at that, ball comes out. He'd argue that actually it's not a ruck formed and he's perfectly entitled to play it, but Greg Garner doesn't see it that way.
He has to get back to his feet to play it. We saw the same situation with Don Barrow with a disallowed try for Leicester in the first semi-final. It's been an entertaining start, actually, and not too bad for Wasps. Like we said, Exeter playing with the wind. They've got to frustrate them. Last thing you want to do is concede 7 points. You're OK, let them get 3, let them get 6, let them get 9, but once you get 14, it's a whole different ball game in the second half.
Premiership's Golden Boot winner has brought those Golden Boots this afternoon. 3 points to the good, 3 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, I think the mindset of Exeter is to try and get off to a fast start, get points on the board. They obviously feel taking the win, that the conditions are going to deteriorate. This is not a game that you want to be playing catch-up rugby in.
No, it's not. Like for Wasps, what they've got to do is they've got to slow the game down. They've got to let the clock tick, let it wind down, play as little rugby as you can in this first half.
The three-start picks out Slade. He's proving quite an elusive runner, but also brought him to ground. Back it comes for Steenson. Having been passed back inside the 22, straight down the middle. Jimmy Gopeth.
Guys, just looking early on about George Smith versus Salvi, and I think it's also about the setup. I always like to see sevens going head-to-head, but there's Salvi as a jumper at the front of the line-out. Now, what that means is when Exeter win it off the top and they go wide, Smith's got an extra 10 metres advantage on him on the next breakdown. As we roll it on, we'll see it a bit later, George Smith arrives there a good second before Salvi, and he's going to get turnovers if that continues.
Those two, of course, former teammates at the Brumbies.
Two Wasps!
Top quality Aussie open sides.
There's a little insight into what we might see. Exeter trying an early driving line out. Wasp being patient in the tackle. George Smith's got his hands over this ball, but it comes out.
Chudley sending that one up for Woodburn to chase. This is a swirler for Wade to handle, and then he takes it calmly.
When you've got a wind like that in your face, sometimes it's not too bad to let the ball bounce and see if it goes dead. The kick before the Gopeth field was really shifting and it had a toe-over-toe bounce. Let it run into your 22. If it doesn't go dead, fine, take the 22, walk out to the 22, take your time. If it goes dead, you get a scrum back where he's kicked it from, and it's 22.
There's the other thing. I mean, Exeter will take that. With this win, sometimes the box kicks almost go too deep and give the likes of Wade a lot of time to catch the ball. They'll settle for that Exeter, though. They've got a line out just outside the 22.
Drums are beating. Almost 13,000 people packed in here this afternoon. 6th sellout of the season. And history on the cards. History in the making. This their first ever semi-final, remember. Chudley is there. Drops it up for Parley. Another of those with semi-final experience. 3 of them for Leicester. Yet to lose one. Taken on by Witten. Festuccia makes the tackle eventually. With a bit of help from Cooper Woolley. Ewers. Smith gets him second time around. Chudley. Slade. Noel. There's Jack Noel off to. Oh, he's carving through the middle. Steenson puts it up for Cowan-Dickey again. And the first up tackling here from Wasps is strong. Offensive line speed, excellent, and there's a really good example of it from James Haskell, leading from the front. Woodburn takes it onwards, but the Chiefs heading in reverse at the moment. Armand. Plenty of white shirts there to meet him. Parling again, met by Haskell, who's dislodged the ball. It's what you were talking about pre-match, Lawrence.
Yeah, you've got to identify that. Gets up off the line nice and quickly. That's 2 really good tackles he's made.
Dolman just dabs that through, and again Wade takes it. No.
Stand still!
Piatow. Charles Piatow. He's been dazzling us all season. Thrilling in attack. Really didn't get to see anything of the Wasp back 3 in the meeting 3 weeks ago. Chiefs just stymied all their momentum. Daly to Siali Piatow, who's taking the scenic route, but he stopped dead in his tracks by Harry Williams. And that's tricky for Robson.
Yeah, the control alley out the back of the rucks is going to be crucial as well. Knock on there from Matt Mullen. But it's just that control at the back, especially off slow ball. Expect to see a lot of forwards stepping over through the middle of the ruck and trying to kick the ball away. Look at that, James Haskell leading from the front. Austin.
Well, just looking at Haskell's line speed, he's fantastic, but it requires everyone around him to react. George Smith's reacting well as side by side. You just got to make sure that when you do come out the line like that, you're able to have the players around you that react. Because what it does do is it creates dog legs, and if you offer one little extra pass, that person on the outside then goes straight through the gap, and then it's almost impossible to defend the next phase.
Yeah, you've got to make it obvious that you're going out the line. You can't be sort of pretending to come up with the rest and then just get yourself slightly in front. I think the good news for Haas, because he was quite obvious with that, as we see the two scrums going head-to-head. Austin talked just before kick-off about not wanting to give away unnecessary penalties in this area.
There's a little example of it, Lawrence, from the previous one, when we saw Haskell step out the line. So he knows exactly where the ball receiver is. He wants to hit Barling, but what that does is it opens up a gap on his outside shoulder. So if a little short pass comes in there and you run a straight line through the middle, it's a very difficult tackle for George Smith on the outside.
Yeah, Smith's got to hinge in with him, hasn't he? Greg Garner got his work cut out with both sets of front rows here. Pretty even Stevens last time they met. I think Wasps got the upper hand early on in the game and Exeter's front row came back at them. Look at that, not a lot to choose between them on the stats. If anything, Exeter just able to win a few more penalties.
They had a few issues with it early season, didn't they, the Chiefs? But in recent times, they've been outstanding. They've been up at 95% recently.
It's just interesting to see Dai Young, who knows a thing or two about the front row, going back to Jake Cooper-Woolley. He's got Chittadini, a very experienced international on the bench, but this guy's been in excellent form throughout the season, playing his 50th game, Premiership game for Wasps today.
Set.
Solid this time, and another penalty goes Chiefs' way. Wasps front rowers not happy.
I gave him the big build-up, and he just turned in and collapsed there, unfortunately. But these are the freebies that you kind of don't want. Difficult conditions. I'll tell you what, that's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. That's one of those that if you were playing at the Rico might have gone the other way.
And making us look like we go there because they're trying to step around. Watch them next time.
Interesting, because sometimes early on the referee just gives both packs the benefit of the doubt, just says, OK, not going to guess, but clearly that's come from the assistant referee on this near side.
Well, we all know the significance of the home advantage in these playoff semi-finals. Some way out, but the result much the same as before. Chiefs have a half dozen, and Steenson has brought his A game from the tee.
Well, it just goes to show exactly what Austin was saying. What we have seen in this opening 11 minutes is Wasps have barely stepped foot in the extra half. They've got to find some time just to slow this game down, spend a bit of time down in this half, and just try and run that clock down. And by doing that, they'll ensure that Exeter don't continually keep the scoreboard ticking over.
Slade.
Stop! Stop!
It's got some weight behind it. Wade nicely back. Gopeth alongside him. Is that going to stay infield? It is. Slade underneath it. Returns the favour.
Yeah, it's pretty clear what he's doing, Slade. He's just saying, play yourself out your own 22.
Gopeth has another crack at it. And this time, having had his sighter, he's got a good clearance away. Taken fast by Chudley, and Steenson asked the question again. I feel like we've seen this before somewhere.
Yeah, it's an aerial ping-pong, and you've got to say that Exeter have won that battle.
The tactic there is all Exeter want is the set piece. So they're kicking. They want the line out to be as close to the 22 as possible. So Gopeth's first two kicks are really good. Keep the ball on the field, go for as much length as you can, but keep it on the field. Make them play some rugby. At least then you can go for the breakdown and the turnover rather than having to reorganise your defence from the set piece.
So Luke Cowan-Dickey, part of the English Grand Slam, of course, in the Six Nations. One of those who will be hoping to be on the playing England squad name tomorrow for that tour down under.
Now you've lost it.
Cowan-Dickey has it, but he's enveloped, and he's having a hard time getting the ball back, and Wasps have done a job on him on the ground.
Yeah. Don Armand just getting into a little bit of a tete-a-tete with Bradley Davis, but Wasps were patient with their defence there.
Greg, when the other turns have a word with 4 white, 8 black, just a bit off on the floor.
I think you'll find it's 5 white, not 4 white. Ref's going to have a quick word with the both of them. Just see here, just get involved in a little scuffle around the corner, but it's Luke Cowan-Dickey that gets turtled on his back, and Nathan Hughes gets in over the top, and this will be a welcome relief for Wasps. There's a little bit of afters there. The referee just going to have a little chat with them both. Nothing wrong with that.
It's definitely a tactic from Wasps. If you see a driving ball from Exeter, if you get a player out, get on top of him, hold him down on the floor. Do not let him get back into that maul, because that's where their strength is.
Well, the first time, really, that we've turned to the right. And we're seeing Wasps inside the Chiefs' half. Carla Festuccia preferred to Ashley Johnson at hooker. More reliable come line-out time, allegedly. Oh dear.
You might have gathered from the ironic cheers for the crowd that...
Well, it was a conversation I had with Di Young this week at training at Acton, and the debates, merits and debits of Ashley Johnson over Carla Festuccia. Hugely experienced Festuccia, of course, but not in his first flush of youth. But Di Young said we can't afford to lose 3 of the first 5 lineouts.
But what was more astonishing was normally the commentator's curse kicks in after you've said it, not whilst you're saying it.
While it's happening.
Well, I tell you what, the referee, Greg Garner, gives you a little bit of leeway, both sets of players in these conditions, but giving up possession in this area of the field is exactly the opposite of what Wasps need at the moment.
What do you think the chances are here, Ali, that Greg Garner makes a decision in Wasps' favour at this scrum? Because it's an incredibly difficult job. You've got such weights pushing against each other. They go down simultaneoly. Unless something is blatantly obvious and you feel like you have to make a decision, I'm afraid you have to guess.
But he's got some assistance. Tom Foley's not too far away, 15 metres away on this near side of touch. Straight out the back, and that's a horror for Steenson to cope with. And he's handled it very well, considering.
Yeah, again, we talked about the control at the back of rucks. It's the same at scrums in these conditions, and this will be as you were. Because it started outside the 22, it's now Wasps have moved 10 metres up the field, and Festuccia will have a chance to make amends.
Just the worst-case scenario, that one for Chudley, wasn't it? Because he had no option but to shovel it back, and yet he was standing just outside the 22. So now a real opportunity for Wasps. First meaningful opportunity, and the darts of Festuccia under the spotlight. Better.
There's a chance for Wasps just to get the driving maul going. Festuccia there in the saddle, first opportunity in the 22.
6 Exeter!
Being patient.
Working to the right, this is good progress. Hughes dragging him up towards the line. Festuccia's over the line. It looks good. It looks good. Greg Garner is taking his time. And surely the first bit of work for Stuart Tierridge, our TMO today.
Language would be important. Is there any reason why I can't?
Stuart, any reason I can't award the try, please?
OK, Greg, just looking for a reason. Bear with me.
Well, the only reason will be if he's dropped the ball over the line. Really good work there from Festuccia.
There's an argument there as well. It was being brought to ground in the motion. I think Cowan-Dickey's on the wrong side. He brings it down with a sweep of the legs. But
6 has come in.
I think it's a try.
Yeah. Well, if it's not a try, you could argue it's a penalty try.
I'd much rather have the penalty try. It's an easier kick.
Jimmy Gopperth might be in agreement with you.
Ewers has come in from an offside position. It's a try. He's over the line.
OK, Greg, that's the conclusion of the angles. So you may award the try.
Thanks.
Carla Festuccia strikes for Wasps, and that is a priceless score. Against the wind, against the driving rain, they've got the all-important try, and I guess as well, Lawrence, they've dished out a little bit of Exeter's own medicine to them, because that was the weapon that really killed Wasps off at Irico in the Premiership meeting earlier in the season. I'll be delighted that that's in good working order.
Yeah, it's quite often you turn a weakness or a supposed weakness into one of your own threats, and that's exactly what Wasps have done there. You know, if you're not patient defensively and you don't stay in the game, you keep breaking away, it's going to be difficult to defend.
he smashed the winning conversion over in that Champions Cup quarter-final to sink the Chiefs at the death, and he smashed that one straight through the middle as well.
Well, it's great work again as we see the replay. Just become detached, and that man stays very patient, but that was a really good kick as well, Austin, because you were watching him kick in the warm-up.
Yeah, very good. Outside the post, let the wind bring it back in. Good start for Wasps.
Here's Nathan Hughes, who was very well shackled 3 weeks ago here. They pretty much marked him out of the game. Exeter. Woodburn is being bundled towards the touchline.
White ball, white ball.
Yeah, just managed to get the ball stripped out of his hands there. Just thought it was a knock-on. Just occasionally when he gets, because he's such a big guy, gets his body position a little bit high. And when you do that, you allow the opportunity for the defence just to strip the ball out.
Exeter. 5, Exeter.
Qualifies for England, of course, at the end of next month. Nathan Hughes.
Not straight.
And that wasn't straight either. So,
We've got scrum.
Trouble at the line out.
Yeah, problem areas for Wasps at the moment. You just feel that. Let's have another look at this. Yeah, it's not helped by the fact that on the first occasion Haskell, then Davis jumping slightly across the line. You've got to get a little bit straighter than that. Probably just need to open the gap a little bit, Wasps, if they want to overcome that problem. Just notice the referee is allowing the gap, and then Exeter very cunningly are just closing the gap ever so slightly.
That's right. Crouch. Bind. Set.
Interesting setup in the back line for Exeter with Slade standing tight.
It's picked up by Armand. Chudley has it. Here's Slade. Chudley on the loop. Now Woodburn. This is slick from the Chiefs. Dolman to Noel. Noel slithering and sliding, but in touch.
Yeah, the drift just about worked in time there. Tell you what, in slightly better conditions, you feel Noel would have got round the outside, but really good work there.
Very impressive from Exeter, the pace that they execute this at. They get Chudley round the corner, and then they hold the midfield of Daly. Ally steps in. If he just takes that in the first motion, you think he might just hold the ground. But a really nice play from Exeter, and a wonderful cover tackle from Piatow.
Yeah, it's Charles Piatow. He doesn't stop, does he? Carries on going, and just gets enough of a hand on him as Hughes tidies up at the back. That's never an easy one to take in these conditions.
Well, brave one, wasn't it? 8 metres out from the try line. And they have the ball, and Gopeth is going to give it some welly.
It's a good clearance kick, that. Well, it's a bit closer than the last game, that's fair to say. 6-7. Both sides have had their moments in the opening 20 minutes. It's going to be a really good tussle, this. I know everyone, even the neutrals, are very excited about the quality of these two sides, and I think on the back of what we've just seen there from Exeter, the conditions are not going to stop both teams from playing if it's on to play.
Picked out by Lees. And here's Noel. Gets the ball away quite brilliantly to Witten. Witten was not held, and here's Witten driving to the try line. Has he made it all the way? He has! Oh my goodness, that is some effort from Ian Witten. And what an offload from Jack Noel. Sandy Park rises. Chiefs on the board with their first try of the game.
Yeah, lovely score. Such a dangerous set. Austin talked about the different running styles of the wingers. Wade tends to go round people, jinking around. Noel much more direct, and it's exactly where their attack was. Straight off that line out, off the top ball. He got himself in behind that Wasps defence. Lovely little offload to Witten, and in these conditions he wasn't held in the tackle, and you're always going to struggle to stop a player from sliding in. Really good break. Let's have a look at it again. Straight off the top. Does Smith go too early? Yes, he does. Just goes and gambles a little bit too early, and Noel just on a little circle ball, little pop ball, takes advantage. I tell you what, Smith hasn't made too many mistakes this season. You've got to admit he made one there.
And Ian Witten thanking the good Lord for the slippery conditions, I think. Always helps with the slide, but he did well to run the line, and the little pop from Noel was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, if Smith goes off early there, his number 8's got to follow him into that gap, the gap that Noel filled with the break.
Now Woodburn's misjudged this first instance, gathers it on the bounce. Sort of came for it and then backed off a little bit, Woodburn, from the restart, but it's all worked out all right for Exeter until Launchbury's size 12s get in the way.
Just trying to make a mess of it, aren't they? I think it just held up a little bit more than Woodburn thought it might.
Don't go forward, stop!
Slade given that an almighty whack. Halley takes it in, and this is Hughes with a little bit of space in front of him, taken down by Witten.
Yeah, Robson quite sensibly just waiting for a few more of his players to get back behind there.
Here's Robson, one of those pushing for a place on that plane to Australia, maybe as the third scrum half option behind Youngs and Kerr. Done so well in the absence of Joe Simpson, really taking his opportunity. Here's Chudley.
Come out of the 10!
He's, needless to say, been the heartbeat for Exeter as well.
Going to see a lot of this ping-pong. Steenson there, just putting it in behind.
Daly has it.
He's got the length of boot just to pop it in behind. That's a decent kick if it stays in.
Don't go forward!
Piatau. Taken by Moon. Wasps back where they started on the halfway line. Siali Piatau using Daly. By Mullen this time. Dai Young talking about having to vary their attack a little bit more than they did when they were here 3 weeks ago, just to try to take the Chiefs' line speed away from them a little bit.
Not held.
Talked about working the short side just a bit more than before. That's loose, and Gopeth can't gather it too cleanly. Piatau from a standing start, driven back. Witten again. Haskell.
Onside.
Nice clear out there from Christian Wade. Haskell got himself a little bit isolated, but Wade, low centre of gravity, got his head over the ball. Did well.
It's all right.
The Wasps are going to have to do plenty of this. You're going to have to expect, playing into the wind, there's going to be a few hard yard carries before Robson can put the kick up.
There it goes. Steenson chasing forwards. Good challenge from Wade. And it's taken in from the knock-on, so advantage with Wasps here. Launchbury keeping the move alive. Festuccia sets it up. Robson, Gopeth.
Advantage over.
That one launched wide for Halley, and Dolman is back there. And Dolman playing with fire, but he's done Frank Halley, and this is Chudley.
Just didn't wait in time. Lovely little step round the corner. Thought that Gopeth just wanted a little bit more length on that kick, but it just stayed in.
Since you've asked him to stop it,
We saw the difference in the style of play from when you end up playing around this area of the field. You're inside your own half, Wasps going side to side, running the risk of giving away a penalty and 3 points. But as soon as you get out of that kickable range, you can up the risk, and that's what they did to good effect. But as we said before the game, a kick is only as good as its chase, and if you can see 20 or 30 metres ball in hand coming back, no matter how good the kick is, it's irrelevant.
On your front man, please.
The range just intensified as well.
That's fine, Ross.
Will make Carlo Festuccia's job any easier. He's on target with this one. A couple have gone astray.
Once.
The referee just saying once, not really making any momentum there.
Use it!
Piatau. Siali Piatau heading back to Japan at the end of this season. Daly. No way around the outside. Slade lassoing him around the ankles. George Smith. Through the hands of Launchbury. Takes it at the second time of asking.
Did well there, Piatau didn't need to take that little tap off of Launchbury.
Mullen. Hughes. Robson. Oof, not too far away from the arms of Witten.
Yeah, this is the area that Austin's talking about, that he Wasps just don't want to get turned over or make silly mistakes.
So again, from a standing start, George Smith.
Well, that's reckless from Chudley. I think he's kicked Launchbury in the head by accident while he's going for the ball, but it's definitely reckless. Maybe they should take a look at it. Launchbury's struggling to get back to his feet. I'm all for people competing at the breakdown, but you've got to do it with due care.
Yeah, swinging boot came flying through. Chudley to Slade.
Don't go forward!
A little bit of control, all black control from Charles Piutau. This is Wade, wrapped up and driven back.
He's done well there, Christian Wade.
Yeah, play on.
Davis isolated. Wasps working hard to secure their own ball.
Play on, balls out. Play on, balls out.
Now having to work very, very hard around this halfway line, aren't they? Harry Williams with the tackle that time.
Two. Elbows on the ground.
Piutau.
See that line speed that we talked about, Tom Johnson talked about before the game.
Exeter turn up. Yeah, it's with Ewers. Real scramble for it again. Chudley, Steenson.
Knock on, Ross.
It's loose.
Play on
It's gone
backwards.
backwards, and Dolman has been given the benefit of the doubt. No. Box kick from the winger. And here's Wade. And it's blocked, and it's with Exeter.
Vantage knock on.
That has gone forwards. So, Austin, are we going to have another look at this Chudley incident?
Yeah, it's not particularly nice, actually. It's difficult to know what to think about. As the ball comes through, he competes. That angle's a little bit too tight, doesn't show the full effect. It looks a lot worse than it is. But in actual fact, as the ball comes round the corner, you see him go to ground now. Chudley's going to compete. He competes, gets knocked back, and then sends his foot through to go after the ball. That's reckless, and I don't know what to make of it, whether that's a red card or whether it's just a yellow, but it's definitely some form of penalty, and at least off the field.
Well, we saw a similar incident in the Six Nations, didn't we, with Mike Brown, when he was competing for the ball on his feet and sort of kicking away, but you can't, obviously, you've got a duty of care to look after everything else that's on the floor as well.
Let's have a word with Wasps Director of Rugby, Di Young. Di, what's your view on the Chudley incident?
Well, I haven't had a good look at it, to be honest. I've been too interested in everything else that's going on. But obviously leave the referee and the TMO to have a look at that. But from our point of view, any possession we're having around the halfway line. I think we're probably trying to play too much and risking getting turned over like we did on the last couple of phases. I know it's an heavy wind against us, but I think if we're finding that we're not going anywhere quickly, I think we've got to put the ball behind them. I think obviously Exeter are using the wind very well. You know, they're not going past 2 or 3 phases inside their own half, but you know, we've got to ride out the first half, making sure we're in touch half time, and hopefully use the elements a little bit second half.
Difficult to gauge, but if you put a number, if you put a points number on the conditions, on the wind, how many points is it worth, do you think?
It's difficult to say, but you know, to be honest, the conditions are not going to win us a game. You know, we can't rely on the conditions. You know, we still got to obviously our platform has to be better. We've lost 2 lineouts where, you know, obviously we need to get our platform. You can get field position, but if your platform's not functioning, if you're failing to get penetration, i.e. out attack beating the line speed, well, we're not going to go anywhere anyway. But no, we need to stick in there. We've showed we're dangerous, but we just need a little bit more ball in the right areas.
Thanks for your time, Di.
Cheers.
Day to dog it out, Lol.
Yeah, I would say he would want to be within 1 score. Certainly wouldn't want it to be more than 10 points. And, you know, the point he makes about kicking to turn them, well, they can only do that if they get themselves on the front foot. And that's the battle that they've been playing in between the 2 10-metre lines.
That one's gone to hand, it's gone to Bradley Davis' hand, and that's a nice little tip on from Gopperth, and now they've got some motion. They've got some forward motion. They are inside the 22. Smith, second visit to the 22. Came up with the goods last time around, of course, with the Festuccia try, and Haskell is still bustling his way onwards. Robson, Hughes.
Open play, play on.
Robson, Dan Robson! Sneaking through the hole, stealing a score for Wasps. Live wire stuff from the scrum half. Just what Dai Young ordered.
Sneaky little scrum half. Just cons the forwards around the corner. Two really good carries from Wasps. Nathan Hughes carrying really well right on the gain line. Suggestions of forward from the Exeter players, but it's not. It all starts with some wonderful interplay, Lawrence, from the forwards. Gets them in behind Exeter.
Well, we saw Exeter trying to play with the ball earlier on in that half, and then look at that. Hughes gets in behind them, and as you say, he's got Bradley Davis and Cooper Woolley coming round, and it just shows the ball for long enough, doesn't he, Dan Robson? And like a key through the keyhole, just sneaks in under the cover.
Haskell there with a really good foot drive, really good carry up the middle. Took a number of Exeter players to bring him to ground. Those players probably would have worked to the far side of the breakdown, potentially covered that gap. He has to take a lot of credit as well.
Gopeth drives Wasps in front at Sandy Park.
Yep.
Haskell's work absolutely pivotal to this. Another little bust from Hughes, and then the sharp mind of Dan Robson through the tackle of Steenson.
Well, we talked about Wasp playing the wide game and the ball's out the back. What we saw there was a little snapshot of their tight game, picking and going around the fringes. Looks nasty again on Launchbury.
Luke Cowan-Dickey perhaps needed to be using his arms a little more than he was. Maybe looked a little more dramatic than...
Okay, no arms.
Yeah, it's the speed, isn't it? In real time, look at that. I mean, he actually gets his left arm in, but sometimes the force of the collision coming the other way means that the arm then gets dropped back, and Launchbury's been in the wars.
Yeah, he's taking a bit of a pounding, isn't he?
It's really interesting listening and talking to Eddie Jones last week. He was saying that, he was asked the question about how do you find playing, watching teams playing in these conditions. He said, clearly the conditions in England are always going to be a factor, but you've got to have courage to still play in these conditions when it's on. And what we've seen today from Exeter early on and from Wasps with that last try is that, yes, it's greasy, yes, it's slippery, but if you've got courage, you can still play in these conditions.
Another messy line-out from Wasps. They have got the ball, but is a long way from the slick operation they would have liked. This is Launchbury again. Himself, Exeter born. Robson creating some more space here. Dan Robson is off, and he's over the 10-metre line, and he's got Wade alongside him. Wade enveloped.
I did really well, Exeter, there defensively.
Quick ball here might be interesting. Siale Pietau with a big fend on Steenson. Was just beginning to rev through the gears, you feel. Cooper Woolley. Through the hands of Smith, and forwards it goes. Exeter have the ball. Chudley looks to make the most of it. And it comes to Slade.
Outside.
I just thought he might have given Noel a bit of a chance there. As it happens, he's put in a really nice kick for Pietau to field.
Pietau taken down by Jack Noel, and Wasps are in trouble here. Don Armand for the line! He's been one of their standouts this season, Don Armand. Making the most of a very fine kick from Henry Slade. Pressure all around. It will be checked.
Check if there was a knock-on, please. As the ball was coming out, I think it was Jack Noel knocked it on.
OK, Jack, OK, I'm going to look for a knock-on at the end of the tackle, yeah?
We spoke about the intensity of the kick, and Noel's chase is excellent on what ended up being a fantastic decision from Slade. Could have given him a one-on-one, put the kick in. Be interesting to see whether that chase from Noel ends up in a knock-on, and that's going to be the decision whether this is a try or not.
But also, you've got to say, Pietau could just... Sometimes you just got to take your medicine. Yeah, I think it just goes forward, doesn't it? No.
Does it go backwards?
Does it go... Well, this angle will show us, Austin. What do you reckon?
He's touched it there. It's going backwards there. We can't see because of the post, whether he touches it again and it goes forward. This angle is probably the best. It's going backwards there. No, that's forward.
That's forward. What a shame. It goes backwards initially and then forwards. I think the referee, to be fair to him, had spotted that, and Launchbury was remonstrating with him, so he's right to go to the TMO. The fans are going to be disappointed. I've got to say, why doesn't Pietau just kick it out?
OK, thanks, Chief.
Yeah, here we go. This one's backwards, and then it's that one that's forwards.
So that's gone forward, hasn't it? Right, Stu, can you rewind it, just because I want to see if there was a knock on by Wasps first.
So I think
Because otherwise it's going to be a different... Whether they lost it in a tackle.
Wants to see if it's a knock-on first for Wasps.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's Slade in the breakdown. Slade gets his hand in the breakdown there.
Strips it, doesn't he?
Strips it. There's his left hand. He strips it.
Yeah.
It
I need
comes
to just
back.
look at that again
Great
for you
work
now.
at the
One
breakdown
moment.
by
Just to see
Slade.
whose scrum it is.
Yeah. Pietau's on the floor, isn't he? And then, as you're right, Austin, Slade gets in over the top. And I think it's
So
his
here, when
left
he goes
hand,
to
we'll
the
see
ground,
now.
has he lost
Just strips the
possession of
ball away.
There, is that a knock?
No.
That is, Greg, he's lost possession of
So,
the ball
so,
there.
so
going
White
forwards.
has knocked it on first.
Correct.
Okay, so it's going to be an Exeter
all right,
scrum.
So it's no try, but so it's a knock.
It's no try, but the question is, in that position,
first, it's going to be
don't take your chances. Kick the ball out, get as much ground as you can. If you're in your own 22, you get all of your forwards back.
I don't want you to dice on it.
Tight calls, aren't they? Tight calls, those.
Right. Okay, no try. It was knocked on by Wasps first, and then it was so it's a scrum Exeter. No, it's knocked on here.
Okay, so some of the Wasps players
Yeah, so it's
little
knocked on in the tackle first by your man.
That's Slade's hand that comes round there, but
well, they wouldn't have been able to
TMO and the referee disagree.
pick that up themselves, and the Chiefs fans, though, disappointed again in fine voice, knowing that they need to make this pay. The last 5 minutes of the opening half, win behind them, need some points here.
That's what I liked about Exeter in that situation. They were under a lot of pressure in their own 22. They were conceding ground, but they got their turnover, and immediately they're on their attack, and they're 5 metres from the Wasps line.
So this is like a pretty solid situation, and the penalty has gone their way.
That's gone against Matt Mullen, I think, on that far side. He's saying White Loosehead gone first. Tell you what, again, that's come from the assistant referee.
White one across the scrum.
Mullen's still on his feet when the scrum collapses.
Let's have a look here, because this will tell us. He hasn't lost his feet there.
He looks like the last man down, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think
That's
Greg
harsh.
Garner's got to be careful here, because this is a high-pressure game, right in the corner. It's a cauldron. He's got to make clear decisions, because his decisions are ultimately going to decide what happens when the pressure really kicks in.
Right then, critical phase this. Marling has secured the ball. Chiefs love this kind of situation. They have profited time and again this season from the driving line out. Wasps have brought them to earth.
It's a penalty already. So good, this close to the line, Ali.
Chudley is poised. Parling has another little dart. Driving through again, keeping it very tight. Waiting for the right moment. Wasps piling through. They've given up the penalty already, remember. The advantage here is with the Chiefs. It's loose, and Chudley can't get it away, and they will take the penalty.
It's interesting. I've been talking about this all season. For those that are listening, if you pull it down, it's a penalty try, yellow card. What Wasps have done is come in round the side there. And what you do, for whatever reason, the referee seems to let that go, maybe
so
once,
6,
even twice.
Inside and more, you end up being the outside man, and then we got Nathan.
So what he's saying is he's bound legally, but then he slips around the outside. It's a very, very fine line.
But you can only get away with that twice at the most before you lose someone, and then you receive the penalty try. I always think in this situation, try and compete at the line out, get someone up, they're not expecting it, and get a turnover. Don't let that drive start, but if you do, Exeter are brilliant at it.
How critical might a Chiefs score be here just before the break?
That's all right, he's pulled it up again.
Yep, the advantage.
Now this will be interesting, because that was pulled down.
Outside, bodies all over the place. How long will his patience last here, Greg Garner?
Well, in fairness, it's 2 penalties, isn't it? So they're going to go again. He's now going to give the warning, quite rightly, to Wasps.
2 penalties for more. Any more, it'll be a yellow card.
Okay.
And what you don't want to do, if you're Wasps, is you don't want to concede a try and a yellow card. So this is the one where they should probably compete in the air.
Dai Young. Seen it all before.
Yeah, but you look at their setup, Lawrence, they're not set up to compete. There's nobody in a jumping position unless they react very quickly.
It's Gone to Parling once more. And this time it looks a little more organised. Wasps have managed to stem the initial surge, but it is there for the Chiefs, and now Wasps begin to splinter. Another penalty coming at least, and it's gone forwards, and it's a penalty try. Greg Garner heads underneath the posts, and Exeter have what they came for.
Yeah, it's a good, well-executed try. It's just a build-up of pressure, really. Testing the referee's patience. Again, he's saying they pulled it down. But if it's a penalty try, that man, Rob Baxter, will be saying, well, why don't you yellow card someone then?
Adam, he is going to yellow card somebody. It's Festuccia. Wasps have lost their hooker, and he will be off the field for the remainder of this half, what's left of it, and 9 minutes at the start of the second.
Yeah, that was the first one. Yeah.
And then Exeter did run away without giving a yellow card, a driving line out, and Wasps, unfortunately, now just had that sucker punch delivered to them by Exeter. It's good pressure. All came from the Slade kick. It's the third line out in a row, Parling. And what he does really well is they get men in front of the defensive line. And then Wasps are always struggling. There it is for Festuccia there. In fact, he doesn't even do a good job of pulling it down. He's come in legally, but then he's spun himself round and he's tried to pull it down.
Just feels like a pivotal phase of the match, doesn't it? Those points, how precious might they be? A 6-point buffer only, but Rob Baxter knows that these games are decided so often by tiny little margins, and Festuccia will have some time to ponder it all. Woodburn getting rid and getting the bounce.
Well, I have to say, on the as it hits the halfway mark, it's been everything we wanted it to be, isn't it, this half?
It's been fascinating. We've seen a lot of ball in hand. We've seen some excellent tries. Festuccia and Robson for Wasps, Whitten, and the penalty try for the Chiefs. It is very much still in the balance. And despite the foul conditions, both of these sides really putting on a show in the Premiership semi-finals. And at the break, it's Exeter 20, Wasps 14. All the analysis to come.
Live coverage tomorrow, 9:30. You don't want to miss that. And Ali Eakin, you certainly do not want to miss the second half here either.
I don't think so. 40 minutes to Twickenham. I wonder what Di Young has had to say to his men. Wasps with the wind behind them now, quite literally, but a man down, and Rob Baxter's lot will look to try to exploit that. Carlo Festuccia in the bin for the first 9 minutes of this second half, and a real test of character for the Chiefs to try to see this through in their first playoff semi-final. There is Festuccia, only a spectator at the moment. And there is Will Chudley, perhaps fortunate still to be on the field. The Chiefs scrum half, his boot finding Launchbury's head, not picked up at the time. It would have been a red card. Exeter would have been playing with 14 men.
As it happens, Wasps are playing with 14 men. Festuccia, 9 minutes 20 left on that sin bin, so they've got a bit of work to do in the opening 9 minutes of this half, just to cope with the man down.
So the conditions have eased. The rain seems to have, dare I say it, almost stopped, and the wind has dropped a little bit as well, although it is still gusting. And this is Ahmed, who had his try chalked off in the opening half.
It's all backwards, never hit the ground.
Ball a little loose, but hasn't been knocked forwards.
Use it!
And here is Chudley. He sends it upfield, and taken in by Halai.
Take it back.
He's already out. Wasps will be mightily relieved, as will Halai.
No.
Really good kick from Chudley into the wind, gets his body around the ball. Oh, it's close, really close. Foot off the ground. Very, very risky. The Wasps will take their chance now. They're in the half. Exeter have just got to play the way we've seen them play all season. Forget about the conditions now. We've got to keep the ball in hand and use that power game that we know they've got.
Interesting line out.
Yeah, it didn't look particularly straight, but I suppose as it didn't get up in the air, the referee's happy to let it go.
Yeah, sometimes you get away with those at the front, don't you? But nothing too straight about it from Festuccia, who's had his problems at line-out time in this match so far. Gopeth looking for territory, and I'm finding lots of space in behind Woodburn, but that's going to roll too far, is it?
No, not quite. Interesting now to see how Wasps use the kicking game just to pin Exeter back, certainly in the opening exchanges while they're a man down, they'll probably kick a little bit more. As you say, that wind has dropped a little bit, but it can change in an instant here.
Here's Robson. Well by Cowan-Dickey, and the ball dislodged. Wade. Really a day for the Flyers. Hasn't been so far. To the short side, and Lordsbury. He's got a little bit of revenge on Will Chudley there by running over the top of him. Robson again. Gopeth, Ally on the chase, it's gone high. Daly's underneath it too. Noel, it's gone forwards from Daly by the look of things. Noel looking to counter-attack. Straight to Christian Wade, who's misjudged that.
That was a decent kick from Wade in a very tight channel. Steenson fielding it crucially. I think he may have just touched it. And the line out goes to Wasps.
It's given them an excellent attacking platform. This was
or a scrum?
Very accurate from Wade, hugging the touchline all the way.
Talk us through that, Austin.
Yeah, they're going for a scrum.
Wade doesn't often get too much praise for the way he kicks.
It's a great kick, but I don't actually think the ball goes out. I think Steenson, it hits him on the chest, goes sideways towards touch. He keeps it back on the field of play. You know, we all make mistakes. Look, as this ball's bouncing, has it touched the line there? No. It's off the ground now. He scoops it back in. He's now not in possession of it. That ball hasn't gone into touch. Exeter's line speed started to push Wasps back in that period, and that's where they've got to concentrate now. Defensively, they've got to apply as much pressure as possible over this Wasp midfield, because otherwise
on set, please.
The elements will get the better of them.
So because of the man down, they've obviously needed to bring in a hooker, and that is Ashley Johnson, who's into the front row. Frank Halley has been sacrificed.
Bind!
It would seem the referee would agree with you, Austin. The ball hasn't gone out, but it's gone forward, which is odd. Anyway, either way, it's a scrum to Wasps.
Big shove here from Exeter, putting some heat on Nathan Hughes. They can't get the ball away. It's been taken in now by the Chiefs, and Chudley feeds Woodburn, who's straightening up the middle.
Not held.
Not held. Going again. He's made really good ground, Woodburn. He found his feet here at Sandy Park after a patchy time of it with Bath. Oh, they're playing with fire here. Exeter has gone forwards from Slade.
Knock on there as well, so we'll come back.
I mean, the difficulty you've got, Woodburn does make a lot of ground, but what he does do is he then takes it just outside the 22, which means that Exeter have then got to run it out. Breaks the first couple of tackles, not held, well within his rights. Not many people get through Ashley Johnson. Wasps will be pleased with this, they're just running the clock down.
Woodburn, one of those who's really thrived in a new environment. 8 tries in total this season, I should say. Scored a really good one, didn't he, 3 weeks ago, bumping off Halley to score in the corner. That was a heck of a finish. It's Chudley who's receiving some treatment here.
He's been excellent for Exeter this season. His work rate, his bravery. He's one of those nuisance scrum halves to the opposition. He's very, very effective at applying pressure, but I love the way he gets on 50-50 balls like a back rower. They go on the floor, and it can add to difficult defensive situations for Exeter, but he's always alert around the breakdown. Big, big season for him.
So a chance for the big boys to take a bit of a breather. They'll be looking forward to that, I think.
Okay, time on.
Leave it all out there in the next 45 minutes or so. Prize is too big for anything else.
Come left if you want, then you stay there, please, Wasps.
Not a lot to choose between the sides. 49% possession, Exeter 51 Wasps, and it's Exeter who are ahead on the squoreboard with that try just before half-time, but it's Wasps, as Austin said, with the elements now, even though they're a man down, they're pressing.
Set!
This is where Ewers' pace will be tested on the blind side if the ball comes out.
And they've got the penalty, Wasps.
They've thrown a few curses down.
First movement was Exeter stepping left. No, you step
gets
left
one
first,
back there.
and then he tried to come around the corner. Shot.
Let's just have a look here. It's a dangerous game Wasps are playing because they sort of almost kick it back into Exeter's scrum there. But so often as it spins round, the loose head is penalised.
Job well done this time by Matt Mullen, and a job to do here for Gopeth. On target with both of his kicks so far this afternoon. Easy pickings for the Kiwi, and Wasps back within 3.
Yeah, I think more importantly for Dai Young will be the fact that they've run 5 minutes of the 5.5 minutes of that sin binning down, and so far they're winning that battle 3-0.
Yep, just 3.5 minutes left on the sin bin.
Be interested to see actually if Dai decides to bring him back for Stucci, or whether he just perseveres with Ashley Johnson, who's currently on the field. That's a great take.
Brilliant take from Ollie Woodburn, and he's wrestling his way to the ground with Nathan Hughes all over him as well. He's done so well to get that down and put the Chiefs in prime position inside the 22, taken on by Lees. Haskell looking to spoil possession. Chudley. Smith disrupting that time. This is Armand.
Get off the line!
You can hear the Wasps defensive playmakers just saying, get off the line, get up in their faces. Chiefs building quietly. Steenson, less quiet. Dolman stepping infield. Tackle is made by Siala Pietà, but they're within 5 metres now.
Ball's got to be lifted.
Taken on by Noel. Wriggles another metre or so. Onwards they go. This is Ewers! Dave Ewers! All upper body strength. All raw power. Exeter making the most of the extra man. And it's the big Zimbabwean-born flanker who's got the score.
Well, he's looking pretty pumped after that, but it was really patient build-up, and it all came from the take. From the kick-off, wasn't it? It was Woodburn who does this. He burgles Ashley Johnson and Hughes and Launchbury and co. Big, strong carry from Jack Knoll. And I tell you what, close to the line, you're not going to stop this fella unless you're moving forward. He's such a big guy. He's got strength. He goes through Davis and Hughes. You've got to go lower, and you've got to be more committed. And look at that.
Any of them run on,
guns out, arms pumping. Crucial try.
You can't do
Delight on the face of Rob Baxter as well. And let me tell you, for Dave Ewers, who is such a shy, humble man off the field,
that's a celebration.
That is some celebration. And the Chiefs reasserting their authority. 10 points the difference. Ewers with the score, and a rare outpouring of emotion after the touchdown.
I mean, Wasps will be disappointed. Take nothing away from that man, Dave Ewers. He's been excellent all season, and he's fully pumped, and all the subs come in. But it was a cheap score to give away from the kickoff. Tell you what, it's momentum swinging one way and then the other in this match. You can't take your eyes off it.
Well, there's going to be plenty more twists yet. Nathan Hughes is intent on doing some damage, but he's been stripped of the ball by Julian Salvi. Brilliant effort from the open side, and this is Cowan-Dickey with the volume levels rising. Really good tackle made by Cooper Woolley though in the midfield. Steenson pops it onwards. Witten spots an opportunity. Dolman stepping and offloading and losing the ball.
Just knock on. Stuart, okay, just check if that from Smith was high. I don't think it was.
Agreed, it was on the ball.
Fine. What about that kick?
Well, it's just what Wasps needed, actually, just someone bringing a bit of calm into proceedings.
Thanks, Joe. Knock on.
Oz.
Two really nice pieces of skill, but you talk about the try. This is where Exeter have been so good all year. They get to the outside, they don't carry straight at defenders, they go outside shoulder and keep the leg drive going. They're always looking for that outside arc, someone to latch onto them, create the try. But as we saw, These restarts now in the game are becoming so important. Wasps sacrificed the ball when receiving and then gave it up way too easily on a non-compete.
Time off. Right, stop. Right, if you keep coming across, I can't make him stand in the middle for you.
Yeah, you've got a feeling, actually,
in the middle,
way it's shaping up. Frank Halai is going to be coming back on.
Time on.
I'm not sure if Festuccia will. I think they might leave Ashley Johnson on.
Not straight.
And that wasn't straight. Now,
It's not straight.
Cowan-Dickie might feel a little aggrieved, given what we saw not too long ago from Carlo Festuccia with a similar line-out.
Yeah, well, Wasps have had a couple against them early on in the game.
Okay.
So Halai is back, and Festuccia is going to be
so last scrum, your first
remaining
movement
wrapped
was
up
you
in the
guys to
warm
take a step
because
back.
Ashley Johnson's going to
You're
come
gonna
on
go straight away.
in his place. Worth, I think, at this stage, remembering back to the
last scrum,
Rico, December the 5th, Exeter were leading that game. They went on to win it pretty comfortably in the end, but they led that game by 27 points to 13 before a pretty spectacular comeback from Wasps. Levelled things up at 27 points all.
You're going to come
Wasps
close
will feel, and we've seen time after time, haven't we, the way that they strike so quickly with their tries. When they come, they often come in a flurry.
Yeah, they certainly do, and you've got these three players all creating a diamond formation, but the one guy that they're targeting is they want to go after Steenson. He's missed more tackles than anyone all season, so you look at the decoy runners around him, you look at the strength of Piatow over the top of him, but you can't leave Christian Wade, because if you give Christian Wade half a yard, he breaks you and he scores. So there's so many risks in that channel. The one important defender here, Ali, is Chudley, because he's on the right side of the scrum. If he can get off to the inside of Gopeth and put a load of pressure on Gopeth early, he can force the play to happen before the tackle line, before the pinch point.
And as a number 8, I'd be thinking I just want that ever so slight left wheel now, be calling Matt Mullen international prop. Just give me, even if it's a couple of inches on this left side. Tell you what, that's a guess anyone's day. He did warn the guys on this side. He's up against Hepworth, up against Mullen.
I think Williams has got long in the feet there. His feet have got a long way away from his shoulders, and probably that's where the penalties come from. He knows it as well.
Yeah, Williams knows it.
It's difficult in these conditions, isn't it? You've got to chase your feet a bit closer sometimes than you would normally.
It's a bit of a guessing game half the time, isn't it? You imagine being in there and someone's pushing against you. If you just pull away, there's no way you can get your feet forward in time.
Harry Williams began his career at the Wasps Academy and, of course, scored against them in the Champions Cup quarter-final, really taken his chance in the absence of Thomas Francis, the ban that Francis has been serving recently. Here, another opportunity for Jimmy Gopeth to drag Wasps back into contention. Well, he's never going to die wondering, is he, Gopeth? Every ball, he just smashes it. Doesn't matter whether it's from the touchline, from bang in front of the post, and generally the outcome is a good one. And they're back within a converted try.
Yeah, it's exactly what Wasps need. I've got bad memories of Jimmy Gopeth when he played for Newcastle. He just slotted over about 5 penalties that I gave away at the breakdown. Kicked us out of the game. He's been deadly accurate in difficult conditions as Exeter now start to ring the changes.
Jack Yendall, the club skipper, replaces Luke Cowan-Dickie. And we've got new props as well. Alec Hepburn is on at loose head for Ben Moon. Now we have Thomas Francis back from his ban and back on the tight head. So an all-new front row after 52 minutes from Rob Baxter. Hughes with the physicality. Hasn't really been allowed to get too much on the front foot this afternoon. Again, Chiefs have done a good job on him. This is Dolman. It's away to Woodburn. Smith makes the tackle. Presentation is good for Chudley. Here's Yendall. Fresh legs. Straight into the fray. Steenson looking for the runners. Tip on from Witten. Brilliant. Dolman. No, that one wouldn't stick.
They just had one half an eye. Well, he had half an eye, didn't he, on Frank Halai coming in.
Yeah, and you would, wouldn't you?
Just didn't want to lift the arms too far above the ribcage.
I'd have 3 eyes on him.
Wasps may well have turned this over.
Yeah, it looks like Wasps are going to win possession here, are they? They have, they've got it. Haskell has ripped it. And It's there now for Robson, a little late to arrive. Back it comes to Gopeth. Plenty of space in behind. Oh, only Jeff Parling chasing this, and Halley's onto him. Parling's going to have to be very careful here. He drops on it in time.
He's so relieved it went over the dead ball, the try line there. So relieved.
Not sure I've ever seen Jeff Parling move that quick.
I think for a second row, all you want to do is just fall on the ball in that situation, not have to pick it up and play it. Again, good use of the space, spotted well by Gopeth. He's going to be a crucial player in terms of getting Wasps back into this game, not just kicking for goal, but just being patient.
Going in to gather it, felled by Armand. Haskell, Cooper Woolley. Oh, easy on the lifting. Alec Hepburn has to be a bit careful on the tackle there. Chiefs not committing anybody to this breakdown, and it's Pietau who's then driven back in the tackle. Good work from Slade. Robson didn't get that away clean.
Well, Cooper Woolley's helped him out there.
It's more like it through the fingers of Haskell. I'm not sure he knew too much about that. That's gone high, but very wide from Jimmy Gopeth. Where's it going to land? It's with Yendall.
Advantage knock on, strong knock on.
Chiefs with the advantage from
Advantage over.
knock forward. Chudley sends it up. Pietau takes it calmly over his shoulder.
12!
Witten.
Just hanging, isn't it, when the Exeter kick, as it did with Wasps in that first half.
Frank Halley. It's found Dolman. It's fielding practice at the moment.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think the strength of the wind has certainly died down an awful lot. Weren't seeing Wasps make anywhere near as much ground with their return kicks as we're seeing from Exeter.
Okay, go.
Someone's ultimately going to have to make a decision, though, to challenge the midfield.
Wade. Pietau. And back we go.
Got to say, it's the right tactics. I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but Slade's just found a little bit of extra on that, has he?
Crowd getting a little restless at this. It's real cat and mouse stuff. Noel roared on by the crowd. He's had enough of the kicking too. Oh, George Smith with the shoulder barge. Ewers doing the tidying job, and Dolman looking to slip through. Oh, Smith again, providing some sort of barrier, but I'm not sure how much arm wrapping there was.
Use it!
Gopeth signals it high. Pietau on the chase.
Come out.
Jogging forwards. It's gone way too long for any sort of contest. Steenson again sends it up. Gopeth from within the 22 has got a lot of distance on that. My word, he's given that some crack.
Certainly has. Good kick from Gopeth, and you can understand exactly what Exeter are trying to do. They're trying to tempt Wasps to run it back at them, especially with the way that their back three like to play. Let's have a look at this from George Smith. Well, it's sort of half an arm. Doesn't really wrap it. You've seen those penalised.
I've seen them penalised, but in my mind, that's fine. The second one, he gets stepped back into by Dolman, so it's a reaction of the two. It's right in front of the referee as well, so...
He does actually finish with his arm round Dolman.
Loving it, isn't he? Just loving it.
But did you feel the excitement when Noel got the ball? He's beaten more defenders on average per game than anyone else in the league this year. He's been such a threat.
So we've entered a slightly funny period of the match, haven't we? Stalemate at the moment. And the Chiefs have gone back to their driving game to try to sap the energy of the Wasps forwards. Still in the thick of things. Taking umbrage at Will Chudley.
Exeter just got to be careful here that they've got control. Yes, they have at the back. That's an excellent drive. They
actually really beginning to motor. They've made some 25 metres upfield.
That's what they've got to do in these conditions.
Get out!
Witten gets it away for Armand. Thinks about the offload and then clings on. The defensive work is really strong from Wasp. Steenson again going to the boot. It's out.
Inside. Stand still, lads.
A wobbler from Chudley. And a loss of footing.
Inside.
Good recovery from Charles Pietau. Now then, Noel. Again, the crackle of electricity around Sandy Park. Noel seeking out the spaces. Not brought to ground. Haskell tries to hold him up. Dolman, Salvi, Steenson, Witten. Chiefs going nowhere at the moment, sideways until they go forwards through Ewers. That came off the knee and into touch.
White ball off his knee.
That's certainly end-to-end stuff in between the kicking. As Austin said, as Noel gets his hands on the ball, you could just see he's the one that's looking to break this Wasp defensive line, but well marshalled by Pietau. Here he is, just shows and goes, and Pietau sort of half gets hold of him. Such a strong guy to bring down, and he just stays on his feet and gets that leg drive, and then there's another guy. Well, that's a no contest, isn't it, really?
Wade does well, actually, not to go low. He stays on his feet, gets in the tackle. But Noel's low centre of gravity and his strength, he's progressed so much as a winger, as a rugby player in the last 12 months. It really is fantastic to watch. And I'm sure he's one of Eddie Jones's first names on the sheet because of the work rate that he puts in. A lot of wingers just stay out there. And what a fascinating contest you're going to have with Chris Ashton.
There's going to be a real tussle. A real tussle. The Premiership dream team, of course. Jack Noel.
Tell you what, Wasps were at full stretch just to win that line out with Parling menacingly in the air as Robson goes to the air.
Woodburn. Having no change out of Nathan Hughes. Siale Pietau in there looking to complete the jackal. This is Hepburn. Wasp, by the way, have changed Mullen for McIntyre in the front row. He's gone forwards in the tackle. I think that's knocked on by the Chiefs.
Yeah, we talked about them targeting the ball players in these conditions. Even though it stopped raining, it's quite a difficult carry. As we see one of the players in the Premiership, Thomas Waldron, coming on. Listen to the roar.
Yeah, listen. Well, he's become a big, big favourite in a relatively short space of time here. Thomas Waldron, Sam Hill onto the field as well. What an hour it has been from Ian Witten. Fabulous effort from Witten, try scorer, and warmly applauded. Ewers is off. Waldron accommodated. Hat-trick against Wasps back in December for Thomas Waldron. And Rob Baxter keeping him on his toes. Might be the leading try scorer in the league, but you're not getting in my side unless you can prove you're better than Don Armand.
Well, they need his carrying ability and his energy now, Thomas Waldron. I think that's a really smart move to keep him caged on the bench, because now, in the last 20 minutes or so, in the same way as Hughes is the big go-to man, Thomas the Tank is the big carrier for them, and they'll need that to carry them over the line, Exeter.
Stay there, don't hide it.
Two tanks on the field now, haven't we? Slightly different shaped. Thomas the Tank and Frank the Tank.
Surely one of them's going to trademark the name.
Well, they've got either side of the equator, haven't they?
Yeah, separate hemisphere patents.
Crouch.
Shows how the game's changed. Backs are called tanks now.
Set!
Wingers at that.
Okay.
Tribe in full cry. Wasps, though, making
Reset.
decent
We're just
headway before the reset.
No offense, reset. Really good pictures.
So a chance to let you know about all the rest of the rugby and everything else we've got on BT Sport for you coming up soon. Next Saturday, the final from Twickenham. 2 o'clock on BT Sport Ultra HD and on 1 HD. Saracens against, we're not quite sure who just at the moment. Rugby tonight, Monday at 8 o'clock with Jacques Berger amongst our guest Ben Ryan. also amongst our guests, 8 o'clock on Monday, and of course today it's cup final day. Crystal Palace against Manchester United, 4:45 kickoff. And we've also got the Champions League final, Real against Atletico, next Saturday at 6 o'clock. Lots of great sport coming your way, and another penalty going Wasps' way.
18. The penalty goes against Thomas Francis there. Gave him the benefit of the doubt, Greg Garner, on the last scrum and reset it. This time, Wasps take it forward, and a chance for Gopperth to really put it as far down into the 22 as possible.
Gopperth has given that everything he's got, but it's too far. Just a little bit too greedy.
I did think potentially it was a strange decision in the first place. You've got Elliot Daly, it may well be outside Gopperth's range, but Elliot Daly's been slotting them all season, and you get 3 on the board, you push them back again, you get another 3, and suddenly the pressure flips.
Let's have a look at this. I mean, obviously the referee's going to go with a touch judge. Gopperth's pleading with the referee to have another look at it.
The trouble is, unless you've got a post that's about 8 times higher than it is currently, you're never going to know.
You've got to take that decision out of the referee's hands and just cut 5 metres off. It doesn't need to go that far because it gets brought back 5 metres anyway.
But Daly's got that range anyway, as Austin was saying. With a bit of breeze behind him, he happily cleared the post from there.
Next person to move left, I
chose not to take that option.
Do we understand? Yeah. Okay.
Scrum has not been a terribly satisfactory part of this match, must be said so far.
No, it's not, but it's, you know, to jump to the defence of the players, huge amounts of rain down in the West Country in the build-up to this match, and during the match itself, makes the conditions underfoot not easy at all for both sets of players.
Apologies for the language you may have just picked up. We'll have a word with the Exeter Chiefs Director of Rugby, Rob Baxter, very shortly. Let's just find out what the outcome will be from this Chiefs scrum. Armand has lost control. Chudley desperately trying to tidy things up, and Wasps have got the penalty. Now then, what's the decision from here, Lawrence, given what just happened?
Well, Gopperth will be going for the corner again, no messing around, but this time I'm sure you'll see he'll take a little bit off it. That was poor from Exeter. They lost control of the ball.
A little bit more conservative, but my goodness me, it's inch perfect this time. He had the settler.
Yeah, it's a penalty we don't often see given when they lost control of the ball at the base. They just dived over the ball off their feet just to seal it off. Got some defending to do.
We're approaching some pretty critical moments, aren't we? 15 minutes from Twickenham. Exeter with this slender advantage, by no means comfortable. Wasps pressing hard, 5-metre line out, taking their time about it. They're controlling the tempo here. Johnson picks out Launchbury.
He's fine, he's fine.
Just got Don Armand, has done brilliantly there just to get himself the wrong side.
20's always bound in.
Could well have got himself in there legally.
2 8s wrestling with each other, aren't they? Armand in the Hughes, he's done enough.
Great work from Exeter, they turned it over.
Chudley clears to great roars of approval here at Sandy Park. So let's bring in Rob Baxter. Rob, first of all, you've got 15 minutes to get to Twickenham. Are you going to do it from here?
I think my only worry is we seem to have gone very defensive for quite a period now. You know, we haven't counter-attacked when we had a couple of opportunities. We've kicked, and that's we've ended up now with these kind of field positions. And I think really we had a bit more in us and could have been a bit more accurate in a couple of our attacks. And it's kind of meant that we've got. It looks a little bit like we've gone into game management defensive mode, and we need to snap out of that pretty quickly because you just can't do that against good sides. You can't spend long periods of time defending. You know, you're going to have to, at some stage, you know, control the ball into the other area, in the other half of the field, and we're not doing that at the moment. That's what we've got to add to our game.
OK, thanks for your time, Rob.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a very good point that they made, but he saw how difficult Wasps found it getting out of their own half in that first half, and I think Exeter finding it similarly as difficult as well.
Yeah, but easier said than done, isn't it? Launchbury is stopped on the 22, but Wasps attacking hard now through their skipper, Haskell. And it's kicked out of Robson's hand. That's a penalty.
It came off you. No.
Yes, it's the right decision, no matter how much he'll complain.
He's rolling
if you roll back into the 9, you roll back into the pass, you're going to get penalised. He gets stuck, it's circumstantial, but it comes off him and it stops the attacking play. And here comes 3 points.
Yeah, they're told very clearly they've got to roll sideways, haven't they? They can't roll backwards. Often you see scrum halves trying to milk it and get the penalty, but I don't think that was the case on that occasion.
Nearly onto the field, Sam Hill, and more than likely has given up 3 critical points. We always felt this was going to be a match of tiny margins.
It's interesting listening to Rob Baxter, wasn't it, going into defensive mode, just saying, got to be a bit braver, show a bit more courage.
Well, he hasn't missed today. Jimmy Gopperth and Wasps are within striking range, that's for sure.
Right, the first
entering a crucial phase of the match. And it's the end for Nathan Hughes, it is the end for Dan Robson. So Simpson onto the field, so too Sam Jones.
Bascom, you're doing a really good job of staying square. You've just got to stay off the knee.
So a little bit of extra firepower,
well, it wasn't a
some
penalty,
speed, of course,
that's why you're not getting rewarded.
from Simpson. It's going so well before the ankle injury ruled him out for almost 3 months.
Penny for your thoughts, Di.
That phase hasn't changed from any part of the first half either, has it? Jones has done well there because that went backwards as he gathered it in.
Yeah, it was like a cricketer in the outfield, wasn't it? Running in and then realising last minute that you hadn't really run far enough. Difficult catch.
Dolman feeds Waldron for a first run. He's skipping through the tackle of Haskell, still going over halfway. Instant impact from Thomas Waldron. Hepburn. Are the Chiefs going to heed the messages from their director of rugby, Haskell? Thought he'd done enough to secure the turnover there.
He got away with one there. He was sort of slightly off his feet, and
he was more than slightly off his feet.
Incurred the wrath of the crowd. Referee didn't spot it. That was a penalty against him, trying to make up for his missed tackle on Waldron.
Tarling. And we're back in, bang in the middle of the field again, as we have been for so much of this second half. Chudley picks out Gopperth. Those two used to be half-back partners at Newcastle. Steenson. Looking like there might be something on here. Chudley.
Back feet.
Dolman plays 9.
This is the area that Rob Baxter's talking about. It's difficult to get yourselves out of this area. You want to be kicking on the front foot, so you need a couple of really strong carries initially.
Strangely, if you look in the backfield, who Wasps have there, George Smith, Christian Wade, not two of the biggest kickers of the ball.
It's out. Steenson does well. Back with Gopperth.
Inside from the line.
No.
That's a very confident piece of skill there from Jack Noel.
Cool as a cucumber,
Tell you what, one-handed.
Inside.
Gopperth this time takes aim once more and gets a good touch, really good touch, as we enter the final 10 minutes here at Sandy Park.
Just outside
the time's going to run out if you carry on playing that kick tennis game. Eventually you're going to think, right, where do I find these 4 points from? Okay, I'm kicking them back towards their own 22, but Exeter have been so strong at retaining possession in this area, and arguably better than Wasps were in the first half at clearing their lines. So Wasps at some point are going to have to make a conscious decision and say, right, we've got to play some rugby.
Yeah, I think, as you say, the conditions probably a little bit milder, so they haven't quite got the length, the kick to turn that Exeter managed in that first half. And 10 minutes now, the difference.
Jack Yendall through the fingertips. Smith has it, Johnson has it, and Wasps
advantage over
with possession on the 22. We're going to make the most of it. Haskell again, another of those trademark bustling runs. Tower stopped.
It's excellent defence. Fresh, trying to get that ball out the back this time.
Exeter's line speed's really good as well until now. You come round with fast ball.
Here's Sam Jones. Oh, that needed to stick for Wasps. It's gone forwards from Johnson, and Halloway on the wing. Not a happy man. He was calling for that from some time out.
Yeah, he was just falling over, wasn't he? Look at this. Just falling over Jones. He just throws a difficult one for Johnson to take that.
Just beware of the top head going on his knees.
Got to take your opportunities. And there might not be too many more of them. I think that's the point. You've got to remember this extraordinary home form that Exeter have. 45 points from 11 Premiership games here. One defeat here in 16 and a half months. And that was against Saracens, a narrow 3-point defeat back in February.
Darling there, just getting his breath back.
Yep, and then they'll get in the right position.
Scrum's going to be really tricky and interesting now. Referee just asking his assistant on this near side just to watch Thomas Francis, that he doesn't lose his feet too early.
Let him get his head up on the outside, right?
Played a huge amount of rugby, obviously, because he got that lengthy band, didn't he? And his
Crouch!
Sometimes as a prop and as a scrummage, you just need that game time, that time in the matches.
Very much the first choice tight head under normal circumstances, but
Ball's out.
Not today. And the Chiefs are scrapping here. Steenson's in a spot of bother. Wasps swarming over the top, and they've secured the ball, and that's loose. Again, it had to go to hand. What can Simpson do with it? Flings it in the direction of Daly. Dolman gathers it in, but forwards.
The circus act going on here. Wasps did brilliantly to turn the ball over, and then unfortunately threw it to absolutely no one. Not sure what Simpson was thinking there.
I don't think he was thinking anything, Lawrence. He was thinking, why don't I give Exeter a clear passage into the final? Absolute madness. It's a great turnover. Unfortunately, Cooper Woolley's mistaken for Simpson. Eventually he returns the ball and puts Daly. If that pops up, they're in all sorts of bother.
Or if Dolman's fingers move out of the way at this point and he just uses his feet, he's probably away.
Well, you have to say that turnovers there, 9 Wasps. It's a common theme for them throughout the Premiership season. They left it very, very late. And the one time they have beaten this Exeter Chiefs side, last play of the game, they're 4 points adrift. Exeter at the moment in control of the scoreboard, if not territory. Wasps have got to start firing a couple of shots a bit closer to the line.
Picked up by Jones. Simpson working that short side. Tower taken down in the tackle by Slade. Launchbury again.
Don't kick it out his hands.
Gopeth skipping through the traffic. Goodness, he's done well. Inside the 22. Needs a bit of support.
It's a ruck.
And it arrives. Options here for Wasps. Back it comes. Smith. Johnson. Little grubber from Johnson. Oh! Gobbled up by Woodburn. And Exeter have the ball back, crucially.
Sure what Johnson's thinking about there. That's not what you do when you play hooker. Exeter backpedaling in all sorts of trouble there. Just needed to hold on to the ball and go through the phases.
That was looking like their best opportunity. It really was. Chudley bringing a measure of control and order to proceedings. Armand carrying it up, and the clock now a really important factor into the final 5 minutes.
Well, as you get to this corridor, this is where Exeter will start to believe they could just hold on to ball, retain possession.
Gone quickly from Christian Wade.
Onside.
Exeter's having to absorb so much at the moment from within their half. Haskell drives onwards. Daly, by the way, hugging this left-hand touchline unmarked. And Wade clobbered by Yendall. And Wasps in trouble here. Chiefs scrapping for possession. Done well. Haskell. Team tackled, Knowles ripped it. Jack Noel has the ball. And support arrives. Yendall feeds onwards to Woodburn and Hill. A little high, perhaps, from Smith. Chiefs pouring forwards, full of belief now. Eyes on the prize. Dolman, Steenson, Armand.
This is more like it for the Chiefs. They've now got the belief, haven't they? They just need to hold on 2 or 3 phases in the right area of the field. They withstood that little bit of pressure from Wasps, and now it's their times to apply the phases.
Well, they've had to be so patient, haven't they, in their own half. They've had to tackle and tackle. And now they're in the right area of the field as far as they're concerned. The clock ticking, Wasps becoming a little desperate. Needing some magic from somewhere. Woodburn.
Up to the 8th phase, that won't matter for Exeter. They'll hold on to it for as long as they possibly can. They're just going to try and draw the penalty out of this Wasp side.
Slade, isolated. Do with some help. Good work from Noel. Chudley down the blind side. Swallowed up by McIntyre. Noel again with the clear out, really important one. And there's the penalty. It's an absolutely critical one. It may spell the end of Wasps' challenge.
Well, some key moments, Ali, that have just turned this game in the last 5 minutes. Gopperth did brilliantly to make the break, and look at this. He'll just regret that. They had Woodburn and co backpedaling, and then look at this, James Haskell taking the ball, and England player on England player, and it's the winger, Jack Noel, that rips the ball away. And they're just eating down the clock. There's no doubt this will go into the corner, the left boot of Slade, and they'll just run the clock down on their way to Twickenham. Wasps have got to gamble. They've got to gamble now in the air.
Just listen to this stadium. The ground reverberating here at Sandy Park. They're closing in on a dream finish to their season. Yendall picks out Parling. 90 seconds left on the clock. And we're seeing just a little bit too much of the Exeter Chiefs right now. The Exeter Cheeks.
Apologies, viewers at home. Not really the intention.
Anything your side?
Look how close they are.
Dear oh Lord. Past the watershed.
I think there was a little bit watershed there on the drive as well.
Look how close they are. Have they made it?
It looks held up there just a split second. I might be wrong. I think it's held up over the line. They get the scrum, which is exactly what they want. he can't take it, can he? Little grimace there as Ashley Johnson. Ball's just in the air there.
Is it? Does he get down first? Is he down and then bounces back over the hand underneath? Very, very close.
So let's do the man of the match at this point. A minute left, less than a minute left. Austin.
So many forwards you could pick from. Lees, Parling, Ewers when he was on the field, Salvi, Armand. They've all played their part. But one guy who's controlled them all and has really controlled the tempo for Exeter and the field position is the man who arguably shouldn't have been on the field, but he's had a fantastic game. Will Chudley, he's our Aviva Premiership man of the match.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more, Austin. It remains to be seen if he's able to take part in the final, because the Scientific Commissioner may want to have a look at that, but he's been outstanding from that moment onwards.
His little snipes around the blind side. He stepped in on the outside, which put that kick in, blocked off Wade. He's made the right decisions at the right times, as all good scrum halves should.
Tell you what, Ali, there's not been a lot to choose between these two sides all season. They finished with the same number of wins. Exeter 2 more points. It's been a hell of a contest today.
Can they finish with a flourish? It's at the feet of Thomas Waldron. They've got a penalty try. The dream is alive. Rob Baxter's men are going to Twickenham.
Gone backwards and collapsed.
The adventure continues. The West Country will empty next Saturday. And the next chapter of this extraordinary rugby club will be written at the home of rugby.
Well, that's game over. Game, set and match for Exeter Chiefs. You've got to feel for Wasps, because that's a horrible way to lose the game, particularly up front, conceding a penalty try on the first scrum. But Greg Garner was very swift to make the decision. There's Slade. I think Wasps have now realised that's it. Didn't fire enough shots.
There it is. Steenson finishes it off. And just look what it means to the people of this region. He's led them from the